guys just kind of cheer for joy when we finally put something up on pigs? I really, Nick was like, finally. I was like, I'm sorry.
Hey, no rush. Sorry. I don't want to be pushy. I just wanted, you know, little momentum. So good job, though.
We got to get it out there. And I've been going back to the footage. Shizuka has been doing some of it too. And it's kind of been busy. A lot of different projects and stuff. So.
Yeah.
So, well, an update on our end. Aside from what you already know, we're starting to put stuff up on pigs. It looks like we're probably going to be having an interview on Saturday. So we're going to get back out there and start filming again. I don't really, it's one of Shizu's contacts. I feel like, remember what he does? Shizu's contact. I don't remember what it is that he does. But then I've been waiting. I need to check my. Well, I got a bunch of mails today, but I've been reaching out to a lot of different contacts. I met a guy who told us that he was interested in being interviewed. He's from Yemen, and he's a coffee shop owner, and he goes to Yemen and picks out the coffee, and he's married to a Japanese woman, and it sounds like a really interesting story. Very nice guy, and so he said he would want to help us out, but I haven't heard back from him yet. And then, so we got that interview lined up. We sent out some emails to some professors at KO who are in the sociology sort of department, sort of maybe get that sort of expert view of what people experience when they move to a foreign country. I thought maybe if we had that, it might be sort of nice, sort of like a segue into different interviews to have sort of this expert opinion on top of it. I don't know if you guys want to look into that from your end. I mean, that might be interesting to have like a sort of expert, sort of in general, not anything too specific like what we talked about before, but just what foreigners experience in another country and sort of changes they go through. And I'm also would be interested to hear what they think about how media and being able to connect so easily to Facebook and things like that, how that affects compared to like how it maybe used to be when people didn't have that technology. Just whatever the person wanted to talk about.
Yeah, I told Tracy that's like an interesting angle we could try to play is this idea of people who are displaced communicating using these kind of new technologies, because that's essentially what we're doing for our collaboration to make it, so it kind of ties in with our process as well. Right.
I just think it would be real nice to kind of switch back and forth between different interviews and the B-roll to kind of have something, to kind of tie it all together. And that might be something good to tie it together. I don't know.
I'll look into that. I had a professor last quarter I think would be interested, so I'll look into that and see if she can link me with any other professors also.
Okay. Sure. So I don't know if we've heard back from any of those. Shizu's handling that. And what else? Well, I mean, we're just really starting to push and schedule these interviews. We got together and figured out our personal schedules when we're not able to meet. So now we're just starting to schedule and we're going to get it done. So we're already, like I said, we're going to be having our first interview most likely on Saturday. So I'm still waiting to hear the absolute thumbs up from Shizu, but it's looking good. So we're rolling again.
Yay! Update our end?
Yeah.
As far as interviews on our end, there's some maybes and Ryan has some leads. Or I guess tell us like maybe how close we are actually getting this down to a solid date.
Alright, so I guess an update on my side with whatever interviews that I met up with my friend, and he was on board with helping me get interviews, and so he kind of pointed me like to a few different professors and some other just working people, and I've sent emails out to them. One is like semi-contacted me, she like added me as a friend on Facebook, and then I responded back to an email to kind of set up a time to sit down, either have like a preliminary meeting with her and set up a location, and that way she can get to know me more, or just go right ahead and go right to the interview. So I'm waiting for a response back on setting a date with her. I'm still also waiting on another person. She actually like kind of lives in my area. I've never met her, but her situation is that she was married to somebody that was living in Tijuana, but couldn't, I'm not sure what the reason is, but couldn't come over to this side, to the States. And so she was commuting back and forth to be with her husband in Tijuana, and then, but working over here on this side. And she also works at an abortion clinic. And so I'm kind of waiting to see about setting up an interview with her, or if she's willing to. And then he also pointed me into a direction of a Southwestern college, a community college here in California, but it's close to the border. So a lot of students actually live in Tijuana, whether they're either citizens of Mexico or they may be citizens here, but choosing to live in Tijuana because it's like cheaper and more affordable, and prefer to live there rather than on this side, and then just commute to the community college through public transit. And I'm sorry, your name is Mike?
Mike, yeah.
Yeah, and Mike actually went to that college, so he may have some kind of friends or something that, or people that he knows that we may be able to coordinate some interviews on that side. So that's what we're looking at. I'm hoping to have a meeting, at least a meeting with her. If not, but if I set up an interview, I'll probably post it up to Facebook, so that way on our side we can probably coordinate some people that go and set up cameras and stuff. So that's what I'm looking with my side of the interviews. I don't know about anybody else.
Anyone else?
Well, hold on. Did you shoot any B-roll at that thing
Oh.
also?
And then so I went to that Chicano Park Day, I think, but yeah, the view, it was just too festive. It was just too festive. But the location is actually
Drunken high.
No, there's like a lot of lowrider cars and things like that, and just yeah, everybody's saying drunken high. But I'm thinking about going back there on a not so busy day, because there's a lot of very interesting murals that have been put up by like Mexican artists that depict like migration and things of that nature.
Have they finished painting? Because there was a restoration project. Are there still painters there?
Yeah, there's still painters there, actually. I'm kind of hoping that maybe when I just kind of go there on a random day, that maybe I can find an artist and maybe kind of do a little guerrilla interviewing on the spot, and then maybe get some contact information. But yeah, I failed on getting B-roll just because it just didn't seem like the environment didn't seem like it would fit like for our purposes. So, but the area is interesting enough for B-roll.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Yeah, so just kind of following up on it was Brian, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so it's funny, I actually know the professor that he's setting up an interview with, and I mean, as far as being able to get like artists, I lived there my whole life. I've been involved with artist communities. I know plenty of the artists who actually painted those murals back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So I don't know if I might be able to like get something going with you guys. But also, one of my coworkers, he actually lives in TJ, and then he commutes here also to work. I actually have a couple coworkers. I mean, I'm not exactly sure where we want to take the interviews towards, but at least they'll give us some more information and more interviews. And
I sent that professor a list of the questions that they have on the Google Sites, so check it out. And you can see the type of questions there.
And yeah, I mean, also living there, I mean, I'm sure like I'm sure not that many of you guys are aware of it, but at least from talking to people, I know one narrative that exists here that I don't know if you want to follow it, but there is this difference between like Mexicans who are born like in America or whatever, as opposed to like Mexicans who are born in TJ, and there's this kind of like they don't necessarily get along. Like it's not one community, it's a divided community. Yeah, and it has to do with like, oh, American, you think you're better, but then like it's kind of like the opposite way, like, oh, you guys think that like just because we're American, we think we're better than we're not. But anyways, that's one of the narratives that's there. And I don't know if maybe our questioning can at least have some of that, so if we choose to follow, we can do it. But I think me and Brian will probably be collaborating a lot because I mean I know how to shoot film, but I'm not exactly sure like how you guys are styling, the interviews, and it'd be helpful for me if I could get with that. But I think we have a couple promising ways that we'll be able to follow.
Anyone else? Josh?
So, what
Great.
about the Hector? Here, oh, there you go. Hector Veronica one. What about? Oh, check. There we go. What about Hector and Veronica? Do you guys want us to follow up? If so, we need to really try to schedule that. If we're gonna do it, if not, we're not. Or at least ask. Yeah. We've been waiting for you to give us the green light. Or
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I think yes.
Just like,
What
if
I'm
you want to
saying.
see Michelle, just want to give us an email or whatever, then
Uh-huh.
take it from there.
We'll speak to
Yeah.
Hector and
Yeah,
see
we'll
if-
get the conversation started.
and see if he's, we can speak to Hector and see if he's comfortable, or he and Veronica are comfortable, and we'll follow up from them. Right. Kate Morrison. Poor Kate Morrison's displaced.
Yeah, we didn't get you with your family. We could have interviewed everyone together.
There's another Skype one there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Okay.
Alright, so what else do we need to talk about? Doesn't need to be in mine, it's fine.
Oh. I thought you looked at
Annotation, okay, so we have talked about the passing record.
Is Michelle stuff out there?
Michelle.
Michelle, the new one?
Not her interview.
There's just some B-roll?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Never mind. I was gonna ask if you guys have looked at the new stuff we shot, but it's not up all the way yet, so never mind.
What do you, by the new stuff?
The person we just interviewed, her name is Nichelle something, and starts with an N. Nichelle.
Oh, I see it. Okay. I'm looking at the
They do.
pics right now.
Huh?
I said I'm looking at the pics files
Okay.
right now. I see that folder.
There's a lot of puppy B-roll. It's very cute, so we can add that like little charming little
Okay.
bit in our movie. No pooping dogs, but just cute dogs.
Look at this, what are you pigs, it's the same.
Cool.
So,
No, it was pretty easy to get the footage up on pics. It was saying something about I don't know, about having some sort of audio file, for you guys too, some sort of audio file, like even though it wasn't a big deal, it still had the warning like you're saying thing. But we did. I got it into QuickTime Pro and everything. Was able to export it out of that again pretty painlessly.
Yeah, I forgot to include the part about the audio. They just wanted AAC, but it's not a big deal. We can hear the audio, and it's fine.
Okay.
so we should have a conversation about
Great.
tagging and annotating.
So yeah, I guess Tracy says we should talk about what we want to do for like tagging clips and making notes and all that. I think there's something where you can add tags, but that's not to specific places. It's kind of to the whole thing
You
at
can
once.
batch tag, yeah.
To the whole video at once.
Yeah, so that's kind of something you do when you do the description. You can add tags. So, can you search through annotated notes too? Like, can you search for someone says something in a note?
I think-
Trying to see how
Let's see,
that works. Wait. Okay, see a little comment box. Okay.
okay, we can delete this.
So, but when you set comments for a clip, is it you're saying it's the entire clip, like you can't be set it
Well,
for like
you can make specific notes at certain points, but as far as the tags go, that's something that you just set with the whole clip. So yeah, there's that, and there's the actual little notes you can make on certain frames as well. So I guess we should just figure out what we want to make notes about, I guess, and
I mean, what kind of comes to mind is specifically things that people say. I want to know like what strikes people as something that's really interesting, you know, and maybe even have a note that says maybe it's a quote that they say, like the time that they say it. There's maybe something like, I really like this. This is really good. This relates to this other clip that maybe we can list. I don't know. That's kind of what comes to mind. How can we effectively discuss the content of the interviews and being able to connect them to different parts to different interviews?
yeah.
So,
You can tag individual clips.
So we're gonna actually share Tracy's laptop to our wall and then to your wall, so we can actually all look at pics together to see how to do it.
okay. Groovy.
You get my Facebook.
Cool.
But I'll forget and I'll start looking. So it looks like you can tag individual clips. I'm just like, we can delete these afterwards.
It's sorry. So we just theoretically shared it to your wall. You may see something there. You may not.
I did.
Let me try just showing an image real fast to see if that works.
I'll try again.
Where it has a different meaning than what I think.
Something must have changed. Different IP. No. Oh yeah.
Yep, there it is.
Hey, we got an image.
Okay, so then.
But no screen. We got 2 images.
Yeah, it could be a VNC problem. We had to do it manually last time. Well, we'll go old school.
I guess we're just gonna give you the video.
Okay.
So now you were talking about, like, ideally we could sort of create these links in between different ideas. And I wonder, I haven't done a lot with like annotations myself, so do you know if like linking or grouping, I know you could probably make similar notes in multiple clips and do a search and have them all come up, but I don't know.
Wait, are you saying notes or annotation? Like tags, I mean.
That's the thing, either one.
I'm still.
Because I know tags.
Yeah, it looks like tag. I thought I was
You
tagging.
could search for. I thought you could search for tags. No.
It doesn't look like.
Really?
Because when you go to tag, I mean, I just added a couple of tags, but I think that.
And you just added them what to just this clip?
Well, that's what I thought, but it's actually just gone into, it's creating a tag list, I think, so
Oh.
generally for the whole project. So I'll have to look into the tags.
You can't drag and drop.
Well,
those
I know,
onto
like,
the-
if you go back to like the files. It's like the same way you change the description as there's blocks for tags too. So
I'm just gonna add to your
Are you guys talking over there without the mics? Or
we're just confused. We're trying to figure out tags. So, anyways, we can start talking about other things.
Okay, I actually had one comment I want to make before I forget about it, and that's with the time code, the way that we talked about doing it in the PDF. And what I found, for me, it was kind of difficult to place the time code on every single individual file, and then sometimes, cameras would stop rolling before the others, and it was just confusing. So you can come in front, it's okay. But anyways, but what I did that was I found to be a little more helpful. I don't know, maybe there's even an easier way, but is where I had the label for the audio track going across the entire thing, on the timeline, because that's the same. That's going to be consistent. The audio is going to be same in both of the different shots and angles, all different angles, right? So what I did is I created a nest of those, where it made that a sequence. Just put the sequence there, and then I dropped the time code video effect onto that nest of the title of the audio track. And I thought that was a lot more simple than putting the time code into every single video.
I'm not sure. I haven't looked at the time code on the clips you've uploaded, but the time code should be. You shouldn't have to set it for anything. It should automatically read the time code from the file. But I know what you're talking about with this.
Because sometimes when we were layering the two different angles, sometimes the cameras would shut off before they should have, so we're missing some footage over the interview.
Yeah, the time code actually, and I don't know if I made this clear, but the time code shouldn't be for the duration of the timeline. It should be like what the time in that particular clip is. So it's okay if it doesn't start at 0 and it ends randomly, because you want it to be showing what's the time code in that file, not what's the time code of the timeline. So then I can pull one of your files from the cloud server, and based on that name, I can find the time code.
All right. Well, then I made a mistake.
Sorry, I might have glossed over that, but yeah, it shouldn't be hard to set the time code at all. All you do is paste the same exact effect on everything. You don't set anything, because it automatically reads the time code.
We worked out how to tag.
Okay.
All right.
So
Well,
I'm gonna.
I'll make note and I'll fix that.
Yeah, don't redo anything that you done, because we'll figure it out. It's not that big a deal.
Okay.
So you guys can see the screen because we just worked out how to tag. So, and you can tag individual clips, but I think you can also, I think that will also transfer to a big tag, like a tag list for the whole project. So if you click on a particular clip and then hit the info button at the top there, it will bring up this window, and then you can see you've got the title and then a window box for the description, and then underneath there's the tagline, so you can just add tags. So Todd, if you add San Diego as a tag, there you go. And so you can keep just adding descriptors in there. And in addition to that, in here, if you see,
search for San Diego.
that'll bring up a lot because there's
There it
B-roll and stuff as well.
No,
But yeah.
that's it. That's the one that I did the tag.
Okay, so then you can search by tag. But if Todd goes back to that clip now, you can see I added, okay.
Where are we looking?
You can see to the left, I've already added some notes. If you delete those, Todd,
Oh, here.
yeah, I was just testing. If you actually want to add notes to a clip, at the bottom beneath the kind of, what do you call it?
Down here, this note?
Yeah, that one there, the one that's the little bubble. If you hit that, that gives you, that's where you actually write in your descriptions. So if we're going to annotate, you can do it with text to leave notes, but you can see there's also the bar on the side there if you want to draw, you know, if you're kind of doing color grading and those sorts of things or whatever, you can draw and put little devil horns and moustaches on people if you want to, I don't know. But yeah, so this is the next step.
How do I add tag? Where is that button?
In
So,
the viewing.
at the top, there's a, like across the top panel, there's a thing called the info. You can see the info button.
Right.
Can you see that? If you click that, it brings up a window.
Okay, I got it now.
Yeah, you got it? Cool.
Yeah.
Alright, so now I'm going to pass over to Nick and we can talk about our strategy for annotating.
So I have a question actually about those annotations that you can do where it says you attach it to a current frame or whatever. Is that searchable at any point, do you know? Like if you...
Yeah, I think so.
So those notes...
You can make a note like halfway through and then that'll show up in the search,
Yeah.
hopefully.
Yeah,
Wait, the notes or
The notes,
No,
not
tags.
the tags.
yeah,
The
notes are searchable?
I don't know about the note being searchable.
We're trying to decide if notes are searchable.
we'll just...
You should circle the whole background and say remove, because it's terrible. Remove bars from background.
Alright, so now we go back. And I search for...
Oh, I don't know. Maybe this guy.
Wow.
I don't think you can
Hardly
search
the
notes. You can't search notes.
So I guess you can't search notes, just tags.
But
It's
you
not
can-
that big of a deal. I was just kind of
Yeah,
curious.
the notes show up on the side of the video.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So notes
So,
are different from tags.
I guess as a starting point, you definitely should have the person's name and either like the location.
Under tags?
Yeah, under tags.
Yeah. Maybe like what they're talking about, like one or two word, what they're talking about, like
Yeah.
moving or family or I don't know.
I mean,
Yeah.
we're trying to
Yeah.
get themes out of this, right?
Themes, yeah.
Yeah.
Thematic content. But will that go under tags or the notes? That's what I'm kind of curious.
If you add them as tags as well as notes, it just means then you can actually search the tags, and if you're looking for someone who's talking about moving, then
Yeah.
you're going to get everyone's like
Okay.
responses, right?
So
It's good to do it as tags.
yeah, I guess that's probably the best bet is to, if you do make notes, add like a one or two word tag to kind of pull out some of the themes and the general what it's about.
So actually, you know, you
Yeah.
can add a tag to the folder.
I think what I'll end up doing is I'll get someone started on that part. It probably won't be me. I'm doing most of the work getting the clips up there, but I think we'll get some other people to look through the clips and add tags.
So
It might even
We can divide the...
yeah, we can do that too, and it might actually be better for us to tag yours and vice versa, so we actually are seeing more of each other's content. I don't think it matters either way, but
We should definitely get as many people as possible.
yeah, I think
Yeah.
I mean
Two
maybe
tags.
Gracie
Two
can
tags.
start
Alex.
like as a project lead on this aspect of it, and everyone should do it, but you know we need.
Independent studies people have.
yeah, we're being told that the independent studies people on this end need to do a lot of that, so that's cool.
And you can do it in the comfort of your own home as well. So
Yeah, the nice thing is like we can just do this from anywhere too, so.
So should we have a target by next week? How many clips are annotated and tagged? Tagged back.
So, I suppose that we could, I mean, we want to come up with you want to come up with a certain format right now, or do you just want to kind of see what works, and maybe as we progress, then we can sort of do what we did with the uploading things, and have sort of a PDF that kind of spits out more specifics,
Like what words we should use and stuff like that.
Yeah, like
Should
what
we
kind of
some
tags
stuff?
we use, like what kind of information we want for each clip. I don't even know if we can, how specific we can make a list like that.
Yeah, I think we should find the footage
Yeah, I think the main thing is like the few, like every time you make a note, like yeah, find a few words that you can add, and then based on different people viewing the different footage and whatever words come up the most, then you can find similarities there based upon just people watching. So you don't necessarily have to choose something beforehand, or something that'll come up as a result of viewing it.
Maybe, but I mean, we have to decide like how specific are the tags.
People use different words.
Yeah.
And spell them differently depending on what. Yeah.
But
yeah,
the
correct
tag should be
spelling,
global.
correct spelling.
So the tag should, here, let's test this. So I want to make sure that the tags are global. Like if I add a tag that's visible to you guys too. So why don't you guys search for San Diego? Tell us if anything shows up.
So
No, it's as a tag. We just added a tag. I don't know if it's anything.
You got well, the Doris and Michelle.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. So that folder. Great.
What was it labeled in there? Was it every one clip or?
No, I just at that one I just did the whole folder because I knew everything in there would be from San Diego.
Okay.
So you can do
Yeah,
it on the individual assets or at a higher folder level.
But when you tag it, is it just
So
like
I'm looking at
or is it distributed
the
like that?
info on the folder,
The folder.
and I don't see the tag of San Diego though.
On the individual assets?
Oh, just on the folder. I thought that's where you.
Yeah, it should be on the folder.
Let me.
Yeah, it's there. If you look at our screen, it shows up on that folder.
But it's not on ours. Maybe it just hasn't been updated yet. But I searched for it and I found it, but I don't see the tag that you guys put on it.
When you go to the info, there's nothing
Right.
next to tags?
Yeah, right.
Huh, weird. Yeah, I trust you. Yeah.
It'd be right there, but it's not.
Oh wait, you're on a different screen actually. Hold on, you have to go to, isn't it the main, the details page or notes? Or?
I highlighted the folder. I hit info.
Okay.
Hey, can we see
Yours, let's see your screen again because it looked different.
Yeah.
It's on Anissa's.
Let's see your screen though, it looks different. Oh no, maybe not, it was just the way it was laid out. Oh, it is on Anissa's. Well, the system just doesn't like you, Wayne. Sorry.
This could be
So
some.
what's wrong?
This could be some.
Why is my computer?
You have to have this big queuing.
Yeah. It hopefully will just take a little longer to propagate maybe to yours.
No, that's a problem if that's gonna happen. So ask Wayne to like tag and like use the URL.
Well, we put in Tokyo. I tried, but it didn't catch.
Alright, so it might be something wrong.
Okay. Did you hit enter or tab or tab?
We tried. No. I mean, my computer is kind of old. Maybe that has something to do with it.
Can Wayne
Can't do
help
it
us
either.
with Anissa's? We just want to troubleshoot.
That's strange.
Yeah. Yeah, so why don't, Anissa, why don't you try it real fast and make sure that we can see yours.
Are they on the lowest folder?
Are you working on Lewis or? Sorry, I can't quite see. Who is that? What folder is that?
It's lowest.
Pablo.
Oh, it's Pablo. Okay, and it's Tokyo. So go ahead and search for Tokyo.
We're gonna try to log out and log back in, see if that makes it.
Oh, it would help if I spelled Tokyo without an E.
Loading, search. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Anissa, you may need to actually close that like info window for it to actually store it and send it to the server. Try doing that.
Okay.
See, when I click on tags, it lists all the ones that you all put. It says documentation, Joris, Michelle, San Diego.
Yeah.
But I can't seem to be able to add a tag.
Does it say Tokyo?
It does not say Tokyo.
So I don't know. Maybe Anissa's hasn't gone through either.
Right, so it could be a submission, so Waynesgate.
Yeah. Maybe. Do one of you guys have it open also? Can you?
I have it.
You want to try adding a tag just to make sure that it's not just Tracy and I? Did you add a tag on?
No, well, I searched for San Diego and I found it, but I didn't find Tokyo.
Okay. Why don't you try adding a tag to something?
Backwash code.
Yeah.
Also have.
Yes.
No, do a new word, like a new key, a new tag.
It's not going in. Like I either hit tab or enter. It just disappears.
Okay, so it's probably a permissions thing. Let's just.
Yeah.
It's a
So yeah,
permissions
it must
thing.
Yeah.
So let's-
Yeah, but it shows on the end.
So we think it's probably a permissions thing because I just tried it and it didn't work. So we're gonna see if we can
Wait, what was it?
just
I
adding
made
a
most
tag.
of the folders so
Just
by
adding a tag.
default permission was for my creating.
You sure?
Waynesgate, the solution and having.
Try a different one.
All of the growing documentary admin group.
Oh. Oh, okay. So if you try and add a tag that's already been there, it should let you. But
Yeah, but if
we're having trouble adding new tags besides Tracy right
Yeah.
now. Yeah, but you should be able to add an existing tag.
Yeah.
Now, what happens if you go into the quick tag? That's the button right there. The plus button at the very bottom.
Tags.
Yeah, it didn't even let you. Yeah, it's got to be a permissions thing. All right, so that's.
See if I can delete it. I'm putting the San Diego tag on
That's
the
what we need.
Jocelyn folder. All right, let me
Do I
put
have
it
a
in.
access to fix it?
And I can also get rid of.
They didn't send you an email? Did we send it to them?
I think I blanked, I'm sorry,
I thought we did it when we were here last week.
We didn't, no, we didn't have any bugs.
Now I can see the San Diego tag on the Joris Michelle folder.
Okay, that's good.
Or before I looked.
Maybe you might be.
Put that on there.
Okay, so besides tags,
I mean, is it something as easy as us just changing permissions?
That's
and
what I was,
admin
that's
changing
what I was
permissions?
about to look at, so, this one,
wait, can we change permissions?
we can change permissions, yes, some permissions.
All right, Tracy's trying to work on changing some permissions. 'Cause I guess we can't really
Just
start-
name and email really quickly.
start tagging
just
until
get
it's
it
resolved.
It's blank on it again. I
Guys,
apologize.
I want to, something else
You can email it.
coming up in my mind
Yeah,
about
you'll
the,
send me your email.
about the time code on the clips as well.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, maybe I'm not thinking about it right. But what if we use the time codes for the actual clips, but then if that time code is different than actually where the frame, I mean, won't it be difficult to switch back and forth between two different angles if the time code on that clip is different? I'm just thinking, what can we?
Yeah,
what can we do to make
well-
it a little bit easier?
Yeah, I guess because they don't correspond. I was just thinking more of like being able to reference stuff from pics. I wasn't thinking too much about syncing different angles. I know on our end, for all of our interviews, we have that kind of already done in Premiere. So when it comes time to edit, maybe we'll do this thing where we mostly try to edit our own stuff because it's kind of set up already. That's the only way I can think of making that easier. Other than that, you could just reference both the same moments in pics and kind of pull out those time codes for both of the files by kind of just sort of guessing in pics like where they both are. I mean, I can't think of any better solution.
Something to think about. Maybe some way we can easily set things up, or maybe even two different sort of time codes or something like that. I don't know.
Maybe we should just create one long generic one.
I mean, we could just add like a.
Because like if it's all synced, even though like there's black spaces, maybe
Just like nest the whole
just,
sequence.
yeah, one whole generic long time code. And then like when you look at it in pics, you can still make annotations, but they'll have that generic time code.
Brian's saying we could just add a timeline time code over it too, like somewhere else on it. I mean, if it'll help a little bit.
So we have a time code.
Yeah, just for the timeline itself,
yeah.
kind of.
Then you'll be able to find
Just
it
something
no
to
matter
think
what.
about.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe we should just create one generic like time code instead of all these little random ones. Because then if you have it all synced up and then there's black spots or whatever, like at least whatever we clip up and put onto pics, it'll still have that time code that's on the original sequence. And then we'll see that in pics where it's actually located in the Premiere project. So like, even if the clip in pics is maybe 3 minutes long, but it's like, in the actual sequence of things, it's like somewhere like 10 minutes down the line, then at least we see the generic time code that we can go, oh, in Premiere, it's at the 10-minute marker. But, you know, so.
But in the actual file, it's different.
Yeah, so like, even though the clip on, you know, pics is only 3 minutes long, we'll have that generic time code there that says, hey, in Premiere, it's actually at the 10-minute marker on the timeline.
I think we might want to think about, adjusting to be able to do something like that. Because the nice thing about the clips that I uploaded, like, is from both angles. It's the exact same like frame at any given point. Like you can switch between the A and B angle at whatever frame it's going to be. The exact point and same point in the video. You know, so you can just switch back and forth angles if you wanted to at that particular frame.
Our pics files work like that, but you know, like they are the exact same thing in pics, like from one, if you switch from one to the other. But you know, obviously, when you go back to those original files, that's, you know, why I wanted those original time codes on there. Just
yeah.
I don't think there's any easy way around it.
Yeah, we could make like some kind of comment like, oh, like if somebody says like, hey, I'd really like to see that at another angle, then we could go, well, you know, that's where like black space actually is. That's where the camera kind of, you know, there's no other angle at that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, and like I guess my original, honestly, on pics, I don't even think we need two angles. My original thinking was like, oh, we're going to use it to edit, so we need both angles. But now that we can't really do that because the playlists don't work like that, like we really probably don't even need both angles at this point.
That's really kind of a good point because on pics,
Well,
we're
at this point,
reviewing it to listen,
You know,
the interesting points of it.
Yeah, we kind of just, like Ryan's saying, we kind of just want to.
We also want to be a little forward thinking, you know,
Yeah.
about what we can do and suggestions we can make, you know, to develop a workflow where people will be able to do that in the future.
Yeah, that was the thing. You know, if we can edit in the future, then we have all that stuff up there.
I mean, since the footage you've already started uploading, you have both angles, and then all the footage we have both angles, right? Or so I mean, I guess we can just continue.
Well,
That,
at the
I mean,
same
it's like
time, and like, because right now we're kind of wanting to use fix to like point out like when you tag or.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's a,
Yeah. So like
and
maybe.
really, aside from just letting it sit and render, you know, I mean, you can let that do it overnight. It really doesn't take that much longer to do both angles, opposed to just one.
Are you saying to upload both angles up there, but on separate files?
That's what, that's,
I'm just continuing.
I thought that's what we were doing. We were having the.
So
I thought the naming system for the clips was just a really good idea. The O1, A, B.
Yeah, I think we should continue with that.
I mean, that's a great idea. That's perfect.
so it's tagging now.
Yeah, we just switched. Oh wait, that.
So the time code that you did, it's like a time code for the whole sequence. So it's like you have your 4 different clips, and then the first one starts at 0, and the last one. Was there any blacks? So like, is there any extra space in between, or did you just start and stop at the beginning and end of the time code?
Well, I took the entire raw file, everything, and then I took out all the unusable parts of, you know, I took out the questions that I asked, you know, syncing the clap and all that stuff, and I basically cut it all in half. And just the usable stuff that the interviewee was talking about. And then what I did was, I just created one time code all the way across. If there was a gap in the footage, like between the 2 angles, if one camera stopped before the other. Like, there were a couple times where that happened when the camera should have kept going. She wasn't finished talking, but either the memory card ran out or something like that. You know. So at that point, I just made a little title that just said there's no footage for right here, but the time code keeps going. Because in the other angle,
I just saw that, yeah.
We had that happen a couple times too, and we left black space on there. So that did happen with, I think, one of the interviews.
Right. So the time code for both angles matches up on the sequence. So like if you go to like Jocelyn, part 2, O2, and the A and B, the time code won't start from 0 or wherever the actual video clip is, but where it comes in the timeline sequence that I created.
Okay.
So you said in Premiere, when you just kind of nested the whole thing and put a time code in the nested sequence, it automatically matched it up to either angle, where it was on the sequence?
Right,
Put the
because
correct time code?
I put the, you know, I've had the title of the audio, okay, and the audio track is the same for both angles, so I nested the audio track to make one long file, and then I just placed the time code onto that nest, so it goes straight from beginning to end of the sequence.
Oh, I see.
Over the nest of the titles of the audio file names.
So even though it's 0 here, it's like actually.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's helpful.
That's
kinda what I was
helpful.
thinking.
That's helpful, but like, you know, again, if we're gonna like take that original file, that time code doesn't
Well, no, it
give us
does.
the information of where it is in that original file. Is
That's
all.
very true.
But you know,
Unless we added
What
an
is it?
uncompressed
Is it where
whole file, like that entire sequence, just the raw that we exported that, and that became the go-to high quality clip that was used to create the edit with.
yeah, we talked about that on our end too, about whether or not we should do that, and we kind of decided not to. That's why I guess this method is way more confusing than it should be. Because you know, that's what we did with the trailer for On Vectors. We kind of, you know, gave you guys pre-rendered clips. So I think that works, but it's not like.
Would it be helpful maybe to talk, now that Masahiko's here with us
Well, I
also,
mean,
about
we might not even want to, or have time or the energy to be able to cut back and forth a whole lot between 2 different angles. But there needs to be some, like, if we were to do that, or if someone was going to do that after us, what can we do to make it not more confusing, but to where people can be able to use
Wait one sec. I was also wondering if maybe we should take a moment to speak with Masahiko, since we talked about using the cloud server and this sort of auto upload feature that he had described to us, if we want to sort of review that also, if that could actually help with this process a little bit.
Okay.
Keith Morrison. Can you give him the web? So, I mean, we sort of introduced the concept before, but maybe you can talk about what do you think is possible?
About the peaks on the cloud server?
Yes.
Yeah, well, yes, the auto transcode and auto upload into the Pix and cloud server.
Yes. So I'm not searching about and developing about the collaboration system for the CM production and any sort of the collaboration. And I heard that so one problem with the current issue is that so the how can I say so file transcoding, because that it takes so long time and sorry, how can I say that?
It's okay.
日本語でもいいです。大きくもましたら翻訳してもらう。
So so he translates my
Okay.
words.
Sure, sure.
すいません。今ですね、こちらでそのコラボレーションのためのその何が必要かっていうところの技術的なところからアプローチをしています。で、以前のそのこのプロジェクトの問題点として、そのファイルのトランスコードとかファイルの転送に非常に時間がかかると。でそこら辺をもっと自動化というか、そのあるファイルサーバーを用意してそこにアップロードすると自動的にそういう振り分けとかトランスコードしてくれるようなそういうシステムを考えています。なので、ただしそのどういうなんていうんですかね、要件が必要かっていうのはちょっとまだ明確じゃないので、そこら辺をちょっとフィードバックでもらえたらありがたいなと思っています。
はい。Okay. So, Kitamer-san is working on this new file server or file web system that allows file transfer. It's much easier. And this is one of the problems that have arisen during this collaboration work. And but he still can't get like the specific details that are needed for this new system. And it would be great if you guys could give feedback to him in terms of what kind of futures and what is necessary in this file transfer procedure. And he's working on file transcoding so that all these files can be transcoded details.
So I guess.
So just yeah, it would be great if you could give feedback.
So I guess what Kitamer-san is asking from us is specifically what file format, so and what kind of quality and size and bitrate and those sorts of things we want. For if we're to take the raw footage, what format that is, the conversion then to go up to the cloud server as full quality, and then the low quality conversion for Pix. So we have the specs for Pix, but I guess if we can provide the information for those three formats plus Sage as well, then Kitamer-san can get to work on the
Pix and Sage, I think, can be
about
the
the same.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, and there's kind of two parts of it. One is the transcode, and the second is also maintaining the synchronized directory structure. which is also very, very important. So being able to, work with a system, the software that you create should have a directory structure, the master directory structure, that's propagated to Pix and to Sage and to Cloud Server. And I mean, those to me are the two most important things. I don't know if there's other things that you guys think. I mean, you were just also talking about the multi-camera shot, but I think that sort of goes into the same conversation too. It's just about how you organize your file system and your so that it's all tied together.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it would be useful for this project, but also kind of hard to implement on certain levels because of the timecode thing. I think if we didn't have to deal with each other's footage,
this is actually probably a very important point that you're bringing up. So what happens if, in Kitamura-san software, it can actually auto-generate the timecode, when it's doing the transcode, right?
That'd be nice. And the file name and the.
Yeah. So adding timecode to bottom. And then, I mean, the file name maybe is, we need to be able to describe what that file name should be, to provide what that template is.
So,
The,
timecode.
why are there two different timecodes?
Because I pre-mixed the sound. Because it was coming from two sources, so instead of having someone deal with it again, I just exported.
So organized.
This is not, there's nothing like simple or straightforward about anything.
So that's,
what is this?
is that the audio mix, and that's the.
I see. Yeah.
That's the original on the left, and then the audio is on the right, with audio.
Yeah. So that audio from that file is that's the time for that, and then that's the time from that video file.
So the question is, if we are actually synchronizing audio during the transcode process, that seems to me to be very complicated and challenging for some automated process to try to do if we're actually trying to synchronize points.
Well, there are programs that will do that. Ali was telling me about one that will automatically sync the video with the separate audio tracks. I'm not exactly sure how it works. There's like some sort of trial program, but there are programs that do that.
I think even like in Premiere 5.5 it'll do it too.
Automatically.
Or Premiere, whatever, CS6 will do it. I don't know. What it does is it just uses the waves.
So there's a plugin that you can use. It's called Pluralize. It's a plugin for Premiere that will sync the audio.
Even that, that's not going to work in our case all the time, because I know our interview from a couple weekends ago, we had a bunch of mic wind noise, so someone's usually has to kind of do it manually.
There has to be a review of it before it gets coded to make, to make sure it's linked up. Because sometimes it'll mess up.
But I mean, I guess going back to what Wayne was saying, should we consider this idea of maybe re-exporting the footage to edit each other's footage? I mean, because we have synced up, all the stuff in timelines locally. So.
Well, how come we can't go with what Wayne's format is? Because he only has one timeline and the audio is synced.
Because we're doing different.
Guys, that mic. Talk on mic.
He did the timecode for his timeline. I was doing the timecode for the file.
Speak into the mic so they can participate in the conversation.
What if? Alright, so.
Is there still confusion about what the timecode actually is? That's what I'm getting.
Yeah, I'm still.
Well, right now we have two different timecode options, and we need to decide now before they do the rest of theirs. I mean, I think we should stick with what Rig did, because I think.
Yeah, my thinking is we're talking about timecode over here because some of us are still not even clear what we're doing. Ryan asked what we should do for time code. Anyways, basically, just to make it clear to everyone, the time code that I did when I was exporting clips shows the time of that file name right below the number. So that is minute 157 from that file.
The source. That's
the source
that's
file.
the uncompressed source file.
And this one is.
And then the one on the right.
Is from that audio file.
That, by audio file, you mean that's where it's at synced with the audio, the external audio?
There's
That's the name of the audio file. Like it's a wave or something, right? And that's the time code from that.
Because all
wave
the
file.
audio from this came from, a bunch of different files. So
It's like Wayne's, he's got his on the Premiere file, and then he only has one time code, and if we tell him like,
well,
at
this is
4 minutes,
these are the only interviews where we have two, because the other ones
We may-
aren't like that.
We may want 2 time code files because without.
So we're talking about maybe throwing both time codes on there. Throw
Because-
on the timeline time code and throw on the file time code. Is that what I'm getting?
Yeah, I'm suggesting we may do both because both of them have their advantages. So with the way you did yours, Wayne, is better for editing in terms of being able to sync up things and switch in between shots. And then our way is better for finding what point in each clip for certain footage, like in referencing that point in that footage. But I think we need both as far as, because when we get to the editing process, if we are trying to switch between 2 different angles in the clip, it's going to be, you're going to have to sync it up again. Like if you're editing our footage, you're going to have to sync it up again to try and switch between those 2 angles at that exact moment if we used our method.
see, that's what I was saying, like, if they have a,
Mike.
that's what I kind of like Wayne's, like, time code there, because if they have the whole interview all synced up, then we can simply go, hey Wayne, from 4:43 to 5 minutes, can you just like give me that clip right there and then just encode that so we can just use that piece for that moment rather than, because then if we throw 3 timelines on there, it's kind of a lot of
Timelines. It's from
Or
the
time
source. It's
code.
not a timeline.
I think it's just going to depend on your style.
Yeah.
For me, like that's what I would do. What Brian was saying. That's how I would do it.
Well, my concern was that when we did that basically with
We did
the
that
trailer
last quarter,
too.
yeah.
But my concern is like we're at the point where we absolutely don't want to re-encode anything except for the final edit. So trying to get in there and use those original files should be the goal, and unfortunately it makes it really complicated. We could re-encode though. I mean, that was always an option, but we never really talked about it.
Is it okay if, like, going forward though, we use his method? Just as far as.
I'm not sure I understand.
Why don't we use?
Do we lose
Why don't
the
we just,
ability?
for the time being, we could just start doing? Well, we're not going to re-encode anything, but maybe from now on we can try doing the all 3, like where you have the time code. And I know it's going to be a lot on the screen, but at least we have it. And then as we get further on in the editing process, we can maybe evaluate whether or not we really need that or a sequence. Because if we have it, then might as well have it right now just to see how it goes. I mean, it's not going to do any harm to have all the time code from the original file, the original video file, what you want to do from the audio file as well, and then from the timeline in Premiere. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah.
It seems like it's a lot, but I think if we organize it, it'll be okay. And then at least we have it, and then later we can evaluate if it's really necessary.
Okay with that.
So what you've been doing is just kind of encoding the raw.
Yeah, I think that'll work best. Yeah, it might as well. It's not going to hurt anything, like you said, to just throw another time code on there, and if it makes anything in the editing process easier, that's good.
So let's, I guess we can more kind of closely make sure that the time code that goes along with the video file name, they're right next to each other. With that, then maybe we can have like a little label that says sequence timeline or something like that.
Yeah, make sure you label them.
Yeah,
So,
it's
just a
really
quick question, Wayne. When you're going to edit later, then, if you're cutting up, you know, these bits, how do you actually know how to resynchronize the audio then later on?
That's already
Like from the external audio. It's not. We didn't.
So you're saying if you
Yeah,
just
that-
upload the raw stuff, then
Right. So this is an encoded file. So if we wanted to work with that at this point, though, I mean, is it possible to go back to the uncompressed file? Or
Yes. Well, I mean,
but we would have to resynchronize the audio.
Yeah.
right.
And if we're talking about like 10 different clips.
And if you wanted to do a multiple angle, you'd have to make sure that it's like a double sync up. You'd have to do it again. And you'd have to sync up the two clips together and the audio together. So that's three things that need to be in sync if you were going to do a double and two angle shot.
Right. Which is, I think, the argument that Nick is trying to make here is that, you know, with his technique, you don't have to do any of that again because all that information is encoded in those two time codes.
I didn't do that with the sound on the whole. So just that one because it was such a disaster.
So most of them don't have the sounds.
usually you sync
so
up
you have to
the
do
whole
that.
interview with the
Well,
audio. And then
Right, that's what I'm saying too.
And like, yeah, kind of
then you put it in there.
Oh, go ahead.
I feel like it's the other way around though. That if we do it Nick's way, like, you know, we know the time code of each individual file, but it's not going to be the exact same between both angles and the audio
Yeah.
that recorded because there's no guarantee to start and stop them all at the exact same time. You know?
That's why
That's why we should just have all three. Just
Well,
for now.
I think too, like, something we should think about is when we're actually editing, if we're editing our own respective footage that we've shot, all that stuff's synced up already, so we don't have to actually even worry about most of that stuff anyways. So this setup was with this idea in mind that what if one side had to completely edit the other side's stuff, you know, now we have that information. In reality, when we're editing, hopefully we can handle most of our own footage, so all that stuff is in Premiere and it's already synced up. Anyway, so most of this we don't even have to worry about.
Yeah, and then we could point each other to the right direction on the timeline
So
to make that clip where the audio is already synced with the rest of the footage.
Right,
That's
so
why.
back to Kitamura-san.
Mike.
No, so I think, would you be interested in at least testing your kind of requirements against Kitamura-san's software?
yeah.
And if so, we need to provide Kitamura-san with some more information. And so there's a question about time code as well.
So a time code in this case, what is the time code? Is it a metadata in that movie file or?
Like the format, it should be minutes, seconds, frames.
No, but it's embedded in a file.
It's
It's so large that you don't have to put metadata. You need like a more expensive high-end camera that has that information. It's just an added visual. It's like
it's something Premiere generates though. It's a plugin that Premiere will actually generate from the file.
So it just starts at 0, right? So it just counts the number of frames in a file. So if you have a 2-minute clip, it will just count out. It will count up to the 2 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's totally like software stuff that Premiere does. So I would, I don't know too much about it.
But FFmpeg should be able to do something like that, right? That's the basis.
You don't even need anything to do that. I mean, it's very simple. It's incrementing it every single frame, just frame by frame. That's it. So if you're just keeping track of every frame, you have that information. You can calculate it algorithmically. That's all they're saying. It's actually being generated within the software.
All right. So we then need to identify not only the different kind of specs, but also, I'm guessing then, frames per second that are used to shoot, right? Because that'll be important for time code, yeah? Okay.
So, and as far as like auto-generating files, yeah, we could use like a Pix iteration, like a wall one.
And the cloud server, right?
The cloud's just the original files, so I mean those don't have to be re-encoded.
Okay, so, I mean, just raw straight up to cloud. So I'll post so people can fill in the specs.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky because, I mean, there is this balance of what we really need is a bunch of clips, right? That's where the sort of the useful part of this is actually subdividing, you know, creating subclips, right? But if we're doing that, I'm not sure that that's software you want to build, right? you don't necessarily want to build a editing system, you know, for synchronizing video and audio and you know, cutting it up. So if you're not doing that, then we need to think of how is this still useful of being able to go from that uncompressed, find mark in out points, potentially synchronize that. I mean, could it be just an EDL or something? And then you just pass the EDL to the software. And, I mean, you need to think of what is the actual kind of most useful workflow here.
Yeah, I don't know, it's hard to think of it. I don't know if we need to talk to everyone about this. But.
Yeah, I don't know if you guys are interested in this conversation as well. I mean, I would like to hear your opinions about it, though. I mean, Anissa, what do you think? You've been awfully quiet. You're too tired. I mean, the general concept is here that you know, Kinemura-san is interested in helping to build collaborative tools, and so we've identified a problem area here around transcoding and you know, previewing, right? And previewing on many different systems, on these collaborative systems within Pix, within Sage, and so we're trying to envision what is the software that's needed here to help provide that service.
It's all right.
An idea, maybe. So, can you?
I think we're interested. I just think that I'm having trouble right now kind of wrapping my mind around what exactly it is that we want to do with it. So
Okay. Well, why don't you guys spend some time offline thinking about it, and we'll make that one of the things to talk about next week.
Why don't we start a Google group discussion about this?
Yeah, and we can start a Google group discussion about it also.
right. If there's like some kind of summary of what our end goal is or what we're talking about, I think that would be helpful for us to read again, and we can talk about it in our narrative meeting as well, our other meeting.
You made notes?
Notes. Right.
So, sorry, I can't really actually hear her.
She made noise.
Okay, all right, you got notes. Great, thank you. Okay. Okay, so are there any other things that we need to talk about?
I guess not. I mean, if we can get that tag thing worked out, and then we can start tagging all the videos, start making comments on it. We're going to keep uploading stuff. We're going to get our interviews.
Oh, by the way, I heard that you're graduating. Maybe you can help us to comment the names and roles, and let's start to make credit title.
Okay.
It's easier and faster than other work.
And I've already sent an email to Daniel from Pix asking about the tag. So you're all able to comment. It's just the tag thing right now. So did we finalize? Sorry, I kind of drifted off a little bit. did we work out what we're going to do in terms of comments? We're going to start annotating this week. Is that correct? Or yeah, and everyone who can will. All right, and I'll let you know. I mean, I'm sure you'll find out, but if not, when I hear back from Daniel, I'll post to Facebook to let you know when you're able to start tagging.
Okay, sounds great.
All right, are we done?
All right.
All right, I think we're done. Go get some sleep or some coffee.
Alright, well, otsukare-sama desu.
Otsukare-sama desu.
So, see you guys.
So as far as the cloud sync, is there a way that you could like? So I think like in EPL would be a good way because once you like sync up clips and everything, so you like sync up everything, you don't want to have to do it again. So if you could like, when you're exporting clips or when you're transcoding clips, if they can be linked to an EDL somehow.
Brian
So,
was
like,
just saying that we should just actually be able to share parent files if we locally sync convert file structures to that of the cloud. So it's like, problem solved. They can just open our interviews per parent file.
Yeah, if we use the software it creates, then we can just have it split to where it uploads to the server, and then just creates raw stuff on the PIC system, and then like whatever we have synced and stuff, we can share the Premiere file, and then they can be able to relink the raw footage off of the server onto the Premiere file that we send over today.
So if Q Morrison's software uploads the raw, just add a camera straight up, is that what you're going to do your edits first?
No, we need to do the subclips. I mean, that's what's really valuable for all the proxy material.
Okay, so
I think.
But with an EDL, right? Is that what you were just saying?
Yeah,
so you do
what
the
we're missing right now is an EDL because we can't share our synced up